So, 1 year ago, I did a video where I asked the SCR community a few very simple questions about their favourite things in Stepford County Railway, and, well, it was literally me talking for 12 minutes over some graphs. This time, I'll do it better. Anyway, so here are the best things in SCR. So, what I did is I gave you lot 6 multiple choice questions about the core parts of Stepford County Railway, and Google Forms has this neat feature where it automatically turns it all into a graph, which is how I got my results. Anyway, the first question is, what operator is your favourite? In 2021, 49.5% of people voted Stepford Connect as their favourite, and in 2022, just 38.4% voted that. In fact, the third place in 2021 is now the second place in 2022, which is Stepford Express, going from 20.4% to 30.2%. A 10% increase over 1 year, presumably because of the Class 43 upgrade. Airlink went down by 10% from 25.8% to 15.1%. Waterline, the last place last year, with just a mere 4.3%, jumped up to 16.3%. A quite impressive climb to say the least. Next up, we have which type of train is the best. This consists of the 4 different types of train power on trains in Stepford County Railway. Let's see how this went. 63% of people voted for EMUs in the 2021 poll, and just 1 year later, that was 65.1%, a jump by just a mere 2.1%. Second place in 2021 was locomotives, with 17.4% of the votes, and in 2022, they dropped down to the last place with just 8.1% of the votes. Third place in 2021 were DMUs, taking up 13% of the votes, and in 2022 they took up 15.5%, another 2.1% jump, landing them nicely in second. Bimode multiple units, or BMUs, take up the third place, jumping up a spot from last year's 6.5 to 11.6%. A weird jump considering that no BMU trains got upgraded during last year. The next one is the train families, a more complicated result as there are far more options, so let's highlight the top 4 of both years. At number 4 was the A train, taking up 10.6% of the votes. In 2022, the number was just 3.5%, landing them in 11th. At number 3 in 2021, was the Adventurers with 12.4% of the votes. In 2022, they got 15.1%, making them the winner of this round. Number 2 in 2021 was the Desiros, taking up 24.8%. And in 2022, they've moved down a place to 3rd, with 14% of the votes. And number 1 in 2021 was the Electro Stars, taking up a whopping 31.9% of the votes. This year, however, saw them get just 14th place, tying them with the Desiros at 3rd. Now, we get to the trains. This year saw 23 of the 36 trains get at least 1 vote, compared to 22 in 2021. These results were also vastly different due to the number of upgrades we saw. So, 3rd place in 2021 was the Class 801 with 9.7% of the vote. In 2022, however, the 801 came 9th with just 4.7% of the votes. Second place in 2021 was the Class 185 with 11.8% of the votes. And in 2022, the Class 185 got just 2.3% of the votes, landing them in 15th place. First place in 2021 was the Class 377, having 19.4% of the votes. However, in 2022, they just got 4.7%, tying with the Class 801 at 9th. So, the 3 best trains in SCR as of 2022 are number 3, the Class 730 with 9.3% of the votes, number 2, the Class 43 with 15.1% of the votes, and in first, you probably guessed it, with 17.4% of the votes, was the Class 720. This ended up with a completely different turnout, so it would be very exciting to see what happens next year. The final question that we will be comparing with last year's results is the stations. Again, this is a large variety of answers, so we'll tell you the top 3 of both years. So, third place in 2021 was Stepford Central with 11.8% of the votes. In 2022, however, they got 3.5% of the votes, landing them nicely in 10th place. Second place in 2021 was Morganstown with 12.9% of the votes. In 2022, they got 3.5% of the votes, tying with Stepford Central at 10th. And first place last year was Benton with 20.4% of the votes. This year, Benton again got 3.5% of the votes, landing them all at 10th place. Quite interesting tie there, actually. So, we've got a lot more station upgrades in 2021 or during 2021, so the results will be vastly different. So, let's see who got the top 3. So, tied in third place, both with 7% of the votes, was Leighton West and Leighton City, stations that are new and vastly different respectively. In second place, with 11.6% of the votes, was Klin by the Sea, a large jump up due to its massive overhaul in early 2021. And in first is probably the most shocking result, however, some people could probably think the opposite. Last year, this station got just 1 vote, but thanks to a lot of help from the SCR YouTube community, this station has gained a massive influx of fans. In first, with 12.8% of the results, it's Berrily. We have officially plagued SCR forever. But, I'm not gonna lie, it's really cool to see the community come together for a station, and maybe this will make TM join the cool side. Anyway, the final question which I added for 2022 was, if you were going to apply for a supervisor role in SCR, which one would you apply for? This gave users the option to vote for one of 4 supervisor roles, all of them being the main roles available by applications, so it doesn't include Mobile Operations Supervisor or MOS. So, tied at 4th, both with 12.8% of the votes, is Senior Signaller and Senior Dispatcher. In second, we have Lead Driver taking up 22.1% of the votes. And unsurprisingly, the best supervisor role is Senior Guard, taking up a whopping 52.3% of the votes. A really cool turnout. Anyway, that concludes the best things in Stepford County Railway. I'll see you next time in 2023 when we do this video again, but there'll be videos before that, and there'll be a completely different turnout from the results, so yeah, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that in 12 months time, but there will be other uploads in the meantime. Anyway, I'm Vex, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.